So you are good to go.
Alrighty, it is 3 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Lauren, was the meeting properly noticed?
It was.
Okay. And do we have a quorum present?
You have quorum.
Do we have any owners present for comments? Nope. Okay, with that, then I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Yeah, well, we have, can you make that, there is the comments right at the bottom we could add. I wanted to bring up, that's not on the agenda, talk about the, to add about the trucks, the ice cream truck for being one, or some other trucks that talk about the county and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that that's a discussion, because we may have an action item about that. So I wanted to talk about that. Then I also wanted to add, possibly, talk about marketing meetings and maybe do that have monthly meetings, talk about that. So those are two things that I wanted to bring up and add those to the agenda.
Yeah, let's just include those under the board comments, because I think we have a couple different issues to go over with those. But do I have a second to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So discussion item 1, Lauren, could you give us a quick update on the water tower police system?
Yeah, so we've been trying to find vendors, but a lot of GCs are really busy. The one that was working on the water tower was booked out for a couple of months because they're based out of Tampa. So they have a lot of work they're doing down there, especially after the hurricane. Christian has been working on some interim alternatives that we can install ourselves here locally that will utilize the brackets that are already on the water tower up near the top. So as soon as he's finalized that, we'll push that out.
Oh, everything's frozen.
For you only.
Okay. That's weird. Yeah, froze for a second. Everyone froze in place and I stopped hearing everything. All right. The last thing I heard is you were looking into internal things that you could do to put the banner up higher.
Yeah, so there's already existing brackets up high on the water tower. So Christian is looking at what he can do to utilize those to put an interim system in there until we can get a good solid one installed by a general contractor.
Okay.
So as soon as that's finalized, we'll push that out to everybody.
Do you need to use GC or could you need to use a GC, or could you use a sign company like Yesco or one of those that specialize in signage?
We could use a sign company, yeah.
Okay. What were your question, Lee?
I was gonna say I haven't been there. What about lighting on that? That was another thing that we were
The lighting needs to be repaired, and that's on Christian's list.
Okay. Is there a plan or a deadline or something for that? Like, what's the
end of Q1 is the goal, at least to have a contractor secured.
But what about well, I guess maybe jumping the gun is what do we want it to look like? You know, are we talking about LEDs that we can change the colors, or we just change white lights, or what's I mean, lighting people are experts in it. I don't know, or is something that come back to us with an idea, or do you have an idea that we want to tackle, or is this something that's been discussed with the CJC? I don't remember.
Well, we have specific lumen requirements and uplighting requirements in the design guidelines, so we have to kind of follow with those. We can't really do colors. Technically, those lights don't really comply with the design guidelines as they stand now. So that'll have to go to CJC to approve the arc change for those lights.
Whatever it is, whatever it may be when it happens. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Any additional questions on the pulley system? Lee, Seeley, either one? No? Everyone's frozen on my end again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Either Lauren or Belinda, do you want to take this opportunity to introduce the new marketing specialist?
I'll let Belinda introduce her.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So Stephanie, Stephanie, you want to mute yours? Sorry, we're in the same office.
I
So
know,
Stephanie
right,
joined the
fine.
team the beginning of January. Stephanie has some background working with small businesses. I believe it was at a peanut butter, no, but also the mall. She had some mall experience working with multiple different businesses. She's kind of hit the ball rolling, created some nice stuff that she's going to show you guys next. And I'll let her do a quick introduction on herself. Go ahead, Steph.
Hello, welcome aboard.
I don't think, Belinda, the mic on Stephanie's laptop's not working. Can you use yours?
Yeah, her mic is definitely messed up.
Belinda, have her turn off her mic and her speakers and use yours.
Turn off all your stuff and come over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll get IT. I'll get IT to work on that. There we go.
Test it.
Sorry.
There we go. So like Belinda said, I'm Stephanie. I have met most of you, but I started early January. We've been working on getting the website directory all updated, so that is all good to go. We've also been working on different marketing things within both CNOA and CROA. Trying to think what else. We've been just doing everything that comes our way. I've been meeting with some of the businesses already and seeing what we can do to help them out. And then I also created a one-page, well, it's more than one page, but a document kind of outlining what we'll be able to offer to them, how they can submit requests for help with marketing, as well as an audit, a sample kind of audit, so that one thing we can offer them is they can request an audit, and I'll go through and look at, their social media, their website, see what they're currently doing as far as marketing goes, and not necessarily going in and doing their marketing for them, but showing them, here's what you're doing really well, here's where we can, leverage some opportunities and some action steps that they can take as well.
Yeah, I believe it's on the agenda, but I'll email it to all of you. So you actually have a copy of it to look at.
Yeah, okay. That's that's interesting. I mean, it's an internal thing. I didn't think about that. Some of the things that we can do in terms of CNOA is also help the businesses, help them in marketing, kind of teach them a little bit about their own social media, where they could do some of the stuff, because obviously we can't do everything for them. And which we'll talk about a little, further down. In fact, we probably should have changed the agenda to talk about where we're going next. What CNOA is, but I think helping the businesses is actually, that's a smart thing too. That's a value add that we can help add to the businesses, is, giving them somebody who can bounce ideas off of and stuff like that too. So I think that's a good idea.
Since we're still on the discussion, though, we can still talk about some of the marketing and social media ideas that we had. One of them, which we talked about, was the establishment of some type of boundaries and rules, so that you don't have one business monopolizing all of the posts and that type thing. Is that something you're currently working on, Stephanie?
You're on mute.
Sorry, that is something that she is working on. Sorry, since we're in the same room together, we have the computers off. We have it kind of outlined in the document that I'm going to email to all of you, but we're open to suggestions if you think one is too much or too little. But we've already kind of walked through that and put in like a suggested posting amount for each opportunity we have available for them.
Well,
Okay.
I think that, I mean, certainly right now there's only one website, let's call it. It's the CROA, it's a celebration, Facebook page / whatever it is, or whatever it is. And what I think, so whatever you say now is a great idea. I don't know what it is, but I'll assume it's good, whatever it is. But it doesn't mean it has to stay that way, next year. So that's one of the reasons I want to have more frequent meetings, is because we can maintain that. Because also we're talking about the businesses doing it. An example, Scoops, for example, Scoops could probably ask for literally being on there every day since they post every day type stuff and that kind of stuff. So I understand that. So there has to be some rules. But if we're talking about, which is skipping the next agenda item is ARC, and then talking about, changing what CNOA does a little bit more, and as we grow to be a marketing agency or marketing arm or business arm of the community, then we'd probably have our own also. You know what I mean? And they may have different rules because one is different than the other. So I could see that, let's call it Visit whatever we're going to say, whatever we call it, could be posting all day, multiple times a day about businesses promoting celebration. That's not an issue, but you wouldn't want the main one to be doing that all the time. You know what I mean? And then so I think there's going to be two levels. There's going to be the, what it is now, whatever your idea is now, once a month or once every 3 months or whatever it is for businesses. But, I think it's going to be a living, breathing document as we move forward. So whatever you guys choose now, I think that it's great, and we'll see how it goes. But the more successful you are, the more difficult it's going to be, because everybody's going to want to jump on it. So,
Any questions, Stephanie, Linda?
yeah, but I would question, Stephanie, I guess, is, so, I think for us, and Belinda, is, I think there are some things that you want to do, of course, and some things that you do. And then I think there's probably some things that we as a board probably think you should be doing too. And that's maybe is give you some time and meet up in a month from now and kind of say, this is really what I need. This is what I need. I need some finance. I need some money for this. Is there money in the budget for X, Y, Z? Because I think some of the things that we're talking long-term, are going to require a little bit more of those things. You know what I mean? So we feel like, and I know probably now it's probably not that way. It's probably not CNOA taking up, 90% of your time or 80% of your time, or it could be, but we believe that CNOA should, only because we think that we could be an organization that really helps the businesses, if we kind of grow, and that's kind of our goal. So we probably need some help from you and that kind of stuff. So we need as we grow and as we do it, to kind of see where we want to go. That gets to the, the other agenda item and stuff too. But it's really, I think we need to be doing a lot more for the businesses. So can you say you've been meeting with the businesses? So I think that, I think when we talked to Lauren, we spoke last time, so one of the big things is you're getting a pretty good list of businesses, I assume, right? And is that, are you getting the manager's name, email addresses, numbers? Because it would be great for us as CNOA to be able to send like a monthly newsletter, or them, again, getting to where we want to be down the road, are there contact addresses for the hotel, for instance, or for every, so, because we as CNOA only have the owners per se. So we probably have everybody at, Water Tower Place. We have, for say, we have one address, which is fine. But then we also need the email addresses and the contact numbers for each business. Is that something that we have, that we can do, or you're doing?
Your microphone's off.
Yeah, she's coming over here.
Okay.
So when I was doing the directory, I was trying to pull emails for all the businesses that I was, updating. I don't know if they're all, current emails. I don't know if they're, corporate emails, or if they're like the individual managers. Some of them might be, some of them might not be. But as far as the businesses I've talked to so far, it's really like Scoops, We just talked to Mulligan's and then Fortuna Bakery, are the three that I've been kind of in contact with the last week or so. And I have contact info for them more directly, but other than that, that could definitely be something that I work on.
Right now, what we mostly have, Lee, is the contact us email that the companies have provided. So even prior to Stephanie's arrival, it's a little bit more comprehensive in the sense, I know what you're saying, like it's not gonna be Mike. I do have Mike from Lexan. It's gonna be the info email at Bakery Boys or the contact email at the companies. Whether that email that the company chooses to provide us is a good contact email. We haven't really established that. As we continue to grow, we can try getting that, because one of our hopes was also a email blast, kind of how you mentioned. We were thinking about doing one just CNOA based. So we have been trying to at least get a working email, but we can focus on more when she meets with them to mention that it needs to be an email that's also going to be checked regularly, because we hope to eventually send out some important correspondence to them.
Yeah, I could see a monthly, whatever it is, going to the businesses and maybe even to the owners, let's say, but at least to the businesses. But how is that? Who owns that list? Is that a Lauren Jacob list that you're accessing? Well, because it sounds like this is a list that's pretty important to CNOA as a whole. But is it in a CRM, or is it a Google Sheet or an Excel? Like how do you
It's in
what's that
our,
list look like?
yeah, certainly. So it's an Excel spreadsheet that we have in our SharePoint account.
Okay,
And I
so
believe Lauren has access. If not, I can double check, but it's on our team's SharePoint. But anyone that we share it with can have access to it. It's just a business. Right now it's set up with the day that we had a touch point with them, the name of the business. If we have an owner, we have an owner column, then we have a contact column. And then we have kind of like their directory info. So what do we classify them? And it's kind of a working spreadsheet. And as we continue to meet with them, we add some columns depending on what we need. But it started off just as a spreadsheet that was given to me by Chris Warwick, and it was based off of his inspection spreadsheet.
right.
So
And
it's
that's why I
very,
think that this is probably a spreadsheet that is probably important for the business itself, for everybody, not just, I mean, CNOA for ARC, but also for marketing purposes. Have you guys used, is there any CRM that you have access to? Because it sounds like maybe that might be a smarter way to house something like this. You know what I mean? It's like the perfect software, some SaaS program that does this, or something that would be more helpful than a Google, than a spreadsheet possibly.
Yeah, probably would be. I don't think we have anything like that right now, but
no, that is a conversation. I think as the list right now, it's so small.
Yeah.
Since we just started tackling it, I think as it continues to grow, that's something that we can put on the table for
That's the
discussion.
issue. If you could start out, right? Because you think about it, how many businesses are downtown? How many businesses are at Water Tower Place? How many businesses are, I mean, we're not talking 100, but we're probably talking, I don't know, is there 100 maybe? I don't actually, I'm trying to think actually the numbers, what would there be? I mean,
There's
we're not
50
talking,
there's alone, so there's a couple hundred businesses.
yeah. And also my fear in this world is who owns a spreadsheet, so it has to live and be able to change and breathe and that kind of stuff. And, and if you had a CRM, probably, I don't know, it's something you guys to think about, because if we could somehow click a button and send an email out to a certain amount of people, it'd be easier than importing a spreadsheet and that kind of stuff. So it may be something to think about as we kind of grow what CNOA is. You know what I mean? To think about, if you were a marketing agency for a small community, let's sell, for celebration, how would you kind of build yourself up? And I think that's where we want to get. So we have to think, I think we have to think like that, because I think that what we were when we started and when we hired you, Stephanie and Belinda, I think next year we want to actually put some dollars to actually get people to visit Celebration, you know what I mean? And actually try to do a more marketing oriented a group. And I think that maybe some of these things that we're talking about, would help in that way, whether it's the newsletter, but also outside and that kind of stuff. So just something to think about. But so I could understand Chris has it, probably Chris has the owners, he talks to somebody. So I think there's probably like two, right? There's probably like two for each business. There's the the Fortuna, but then Fortuna's part of Lexan, you know what I mean? And then there's Orange Theory Fitness, and Orange Theory is part of actually whoever owns Water
Crossman.
Tower Place today. Yeah,
Crossman.
yeah. So I think there's difference, right? So, and because sometimes they'll change and we'll have to check it somehow. So I don't know how we get that, but you guys have to think about how either it's visiting each manager directly and introducing yourself, or somehow, sending an email across and say, look, we know you have this many businesses just because you walked around and counted it. Can you get me the contact name for each one of them? That might be easier than visiting each one, stuff like that. So, I mean, because there's anyway, and then we have a spot in the spreadsheet or wherever it is for we make sure we have every business and every business covered somehow. That's kind of I think our ultimate goal, to have a contact for every business.
I think that not only from a marketing standpoint, it'd be important to have all those email addresses for informational purposes. If there's a hurricane and you need volunteers from businesses for filling sandbags, or just an alert like, hey, the storm's coming. This is your emergency contact list of people. Not number. I think it's important when there's something happening town-wise to communicate that to businesses the same way you do to residents.
Perfect example was Christmas, when we had, you're looking for people to donate stuff for Toys for Tots or whatever it is. We're going to create these things for CNOA and for the community. I think we need to be, how can we add more value to the businesses? That's kind of, whether it's creating events or whether it's creating community with the businesses themselves. So yeah, having that info. So yeah, so think about that as you do that. But I don't know. I think those are good things. So if you're thinking big, then we're happy to hear any thoughts. So for sure.
Any questions? Celie, Belinda, Stephanie, anyone? Okay. Couldn't hear you. What was that?
I do have one question. Lauren, and maybe in the world of your company, Grand Manners, and maybe do they have a CRM they work with? Or are they using spreadsheets for this kind of, that kind of, I mean, maybe there's something that you already have. I mean, if not, I could help. And there's lots of marketing CRMs, by the way, and most of them are geared towards marketing, not towards community, obviously. But and there's even HubSpot you could use for free and some other stuff like that. But I think that there may be something that in the ARC world that maybe helps with this too, because you want to be able to use for everything.
So Syrinet has all our owner information. There are also additional ability to add leases as part of the property record. So we can technically use that. That would just maintain our contact. And then every time there's a turnover, we get notified when there's a resale or when there's a new business or a new leasee, because they're supposed to provide us their lease as well. So we do have Syrinet for that. There are other options as well. Syrinet does mass emailings and mass communications and text messages, smart webs, which we are using as well from the Covenants and Arc side. They have mass communication ability as well. And then we at Town Hall also use Klaviyo as a messaging tool. That's what we use for Friday Flash, Monday Matters, and all those email.
Okay.
So I think
I'm very familiar with Klaviyo. So
yeah, we've got a variety of tools that we can utilize. So I would say as we scale this up, we can, if we need to, we can start having conversations about, an enterprise level solution if it becomes necessary.
Okay. Is any other questions on the marketing? Is Chris with us today?
No, he's not here today, but there are no outstanding CNOA ARC items. The one ARC application that was kicked to the architect was kicked back for lack of information. So he'll be working with the church on that one to see if they want to continue to pursue it.
I would bring something up about that, and this is I wish Chris was here, but I think this is more to you, Lauren and Jacob. Is that I would say that type of thing, like, I would hate for us to approve something like that so quick. You know, I would think that something, I would tell Chris if he were here, Chris, don't let that even get to us, something like that. That's so, say, important. And
Danica, his manager, has already had that conversation with him.
okay. All right. Yeah. And I would just give that feedback. Okay.
And then Lee and Celia, I think you guys need to work with Lauren. She needs to show you how to access that portal. I don't think you guys have had access to that.
Yeah, I have to click on. Do I have a? I mean, I guess I
You're
can
right.
click on it and have a password or something. But yeah, do I have a password already, Lauren? Or what?
You do. I will probably have to reissue it for you.
Okay. All right.
So I can do that after
Yeah.
we're done.
Okay.
Celia, do you need that too?
I probably would, because when Lauren sent it to me, I didn't activate it, so it probably will need a reset.
I will log in and reissue those credentials. It'll be, your email address is your username, and then the system will send you a password.
Perfect. And then as soon as you send it to me, I'll activate it so I can. Thank you.
Okay, it's pretty simple to use once you've done it one or two times. Lauren can walk you through it if you need to figure out how to access the CNOA applications. Okay. All righty. The next item is the rebranding. We've had discussions before about kind of a need to rebrand ourselves because CNOA doesn't really say what we do. Outside of our little circle, nobody really knows what CNOA is or what it means or what we do. And so we felt the need to rebrand it so that it can be more representative of us. Lauren, what would be the next steps in securing that DBA?
We will have to have, your council, move that forward.
Okay.
So I would recommend, Mike, for us to move forward is probably maybe making a motion and approving that discussion so we can actually have our attorney, do that work. Probably, I think that would be that. Wouldn't you say, Lauren? That would be what you would like to hear from this board to move it forward.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So that I would recommend that. Now, I would say though, I have already secured the domain, which you probably have already looked at. If you look up, the .com was taken, but if you look up which one?
.org, I think you took.
Yeah, .org, which we'll try to get .com afterwards. But I just put up a landing page, so if you go to it, you'll see I just did something interesting. And then I also made sure I secured TikTok and I think Instagram name on that, so I could transfer that over to, and Lauren, so I would transfer that over to CNOA, I guess, in a way, or would that be maintained by you guys? So, and it'd be part of your, whatever
You would
internet
transfer it over to,
fee.
you
Okay.
transfer it to ownership to CNOA.
Okay. So Mike, I would say we could make a motion to do all this, and then that way I could send it all over and everything done, and then we could spend money on the attorney. I mean, to do the DBA takes nothing basically to do. And then we could figure out from there. I mean, I think in terms of Stephanie and Belinda, I think to make your life, be able to explain what CNOA does better. And I think that's what we want to go to long-term is kind of, this is to really help the businesses in Celebration thrive. This would be probably the right thing to do. So any ideas that you can, do, but if there's other things, so Lauren, I'll send you the info after this meeting or when I find it or whatever, just in the ownership, and I'll have wherever the domain is parked, I'll just send you the info and you can just send it to whoever needs it, whatever. And you can just tell me if I need to do anything.
Well, Lauren, what do you need from us at this meeting to go ahead and proceed with securing that DBA?
If you're all in agreement, then I will just direct Charlie to do so.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion for that then?
It's the expenditure authority is within, it'll be far less than $5,000. So I just need verbal consensus.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Okay. Please proceed with that as soon as possible so that we can secure that. Okay.
Do you know who owns the .com or?
I do not, but I think I do know who it is. I mean, I'm not sure, but I was going to talk to them after we did this process because they're not using it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that we at least had everything else first, and we could take a legitimate swipe at saying, "Listen, we're using it," that kind of stuff first.
Okay.
So I wanted to do
And-
that first. Yeah.
And if the DBA is ours, we would have the rights to the name.
Certainly
More
easier.
likely.
Yeah. And we could survive without the .com probably, you know what I mean? But it would be nice to have also.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions about the rebranding? All right.
Oh yeah, let me ask this. Sorry, because we talked about logo, but maybe there is some sort of logo for that brand too. I don't know that we want or a style type or something. That's something to think about. It's nothing we have to really
we'll have to
concern ourselves
propose
now, but
something.
yeah, but Belinda and Stephanie, maybe that's something that it's on the agenda for the next couple months or something. So whatever.
Yep. All right. The last discussion item that we have on this list is the safety concerns. As you all know, because of what happened in Germany over the holidays and then in New Orleans not long ago, we need to kind of rethink the safety of mass public events. Where are we with that, Lauren? You were looking into different bollards and different things?
Yeah, I still have a couple of vendors that I'm waiting for a call back on. So as soon as I get all of the information, I'll shoot it out to the board for you guys to review with some recommendations. I was also need to, I want to talk about this at the CNOA board meeting this month as well to put it on their radar. And then get their blessing to kind of push forward and possibly make this a CJC expenditure since it impacts both entities.
Cut out for a quick second.
She said she wants to talk to the CJC also and CNOA and CROA. So
All right, so we're looking at a possible contribution from the CNOA end as well. I believe that obviously Lexington, since we do events downtown, would be a contributor to the safety bollards. CNOA being that it's the road and it's public safety, and then CROA as well, since they utilize the streets for July 4th and events. Any idea when you're expecting those proposals to be in?
I will be harassing them tomorrow if I don't hear anything by this afternoon.
We glitched again.
I hope to have something to you guys by the end of next week.
By the end of next week? Oh, okay. Good. All right. Any questions about the safety concerns and the possible contribution from the CNOA end? Not probably much to go on until we get those proposals and have ideas.
Yep.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to the action item. The only action item we have on this agenda is the approval of the new CNOA logo. Leanne, Seeley, and Amber before Seeley have seen the logo. Any questions about that logo? Or if not, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
So
I
moved.
loved it.
Good. All right. Did I have a second?
It's not centered. Is that just on this view? The text?
Oh yeah, the text is definitely off for sure.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's not off-centered on the actual logo.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Did I have a second on that motion to approve the logo?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. But yeah, I think we obviously clean up the text on the bottom, the typesetting and stuff like that or whatever. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. It got distorted in transfer. I don't know why, but the original wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so that's unanimously approved. On to board comments. I know, Lee, you said there was a couple issues that you wanted to discuss during the board discussion portion.
Yeah, I had if I figured out how to use this chat setup, I'd actually put some pictures of the food truck. There was a this last week we've had an ice cream truck sit in front of Scoops for over an hour until they got harassed to move. I have pictures of that. Then, by the way, Mike, this weekend they went in front of the I guess Old Town Hall where the aesthetics, what that the business right out there, kind of on the corner right there. They parked right in front, right over there on Celebration Avenue. So right in front of on Celebration Avenue, in front of those businesses. They hung out there for a while. So, and then they were back in Island Village again. So I know that they are, both places are obviously county roads. They certainly can't be on CNOA roads, but they're county roads. So I don't know if, so I think as an organization that part of our job is probably to represent some of these businesses. We're probably going to have this even more. We're going to have more businesses in Island Village. So I'd hate to see a taco food truck go right in front of the Mexican restaurant in Island Village. I'd hate to say another ice cream place, So I guess the question is, are they allowed to be on county roads? Number one. Number two, if they are allowed to be on county roads and there's nothing we can do, let's check that first. But if that is the case, then can we create an ordinance with Osceola County to kind of discourage this? So that's my kind of question to Lauren and staff to see what we can find out about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can do some research, but off the top of my head, I would say there's not much we can do about them on the county road. As long as they're licensed and permitted to operate. We can control them on CROA-owned property and CNOA-owned property, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I would say that's the if, right? I mean, are they allowed to take up a parking spot? Is there something in the ordinance? Is there something somewhere that can stop them from from parking in front of a business and competitive business? I don't know, and maybe there is, but I think that there's some discussion to have. Then if we are completely unable to stop them, then I would talk about some other things that we could do, and talks about creating an ordinance to kind of that we might be able to talk to our county commissioner to kind of stop this. So
You can email Peggy's assistant and get
Mhm.
they're not allowed to park only because I used to own a food truck.
Yeah,
So they're not allowed, they can park anywhere, but they're not allowed to park and set up service without certain permits. So for instance, when we do at the lakefront, that Cats lady that Amber uses, she gets the permits because you have to be certain feet from like a restroom. There's lots of
right,
things that they have to
right,
check off before they just go
right.
and do service. And I only know this secondary in Osceola because there was a whole issue with a similar thing in St. Cloud. So
Mhm.
in St. Cloud, the businesses had everything and they had to get an exception and go to some kind of town hall to get a permission for the food trucks to set up. And there were still rules and regulations that they put in place on where they could set up in St. Cloud.
Right.
So I don't know what they are exactly, but that's a quick email. I think to Peggy's assistant. I don't even think Peggy needs to answer it. I think Peggy's assistant can just get the information for us.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have a meeting with Peggy next week, so I've talked to her about it.
Yeah, I think she won't know the answer right away, so it'd be almost be better to get a hold of her. I mean, I have a meeting with Don Fisher, but something unrelated. But I think that if we know what the statute is or the regulation is, we may not need. I mean, we may not need we may need law enforcement help actually. You know what I mean? If it can't go in front of a competing business or whatever it is, and then that's the next question, Lauren, is how do we enforce it? So I think for us I think it's a legitimate recourse for a business owner to come to us to help them kind of solve this problem. Such, I mean, again, bring up the Scoops person again. I know they'll probably use our resources all day long if they could, but that is certainly legitimate if, again, the Scoops person did it, or if it was I mean, actually, it could have been Mike. You probably could. You'd have the same issue if the person park. If you saw the person park on Celebration Avenue this weekend, they were literally there. They're not far from. They were not far from Kilwins, quite honestly, either. So I think that it's just starting, and I mean, it comes in phases. We may not have these people may never come back, but at least we should know what the rules are.
So we'll get
I
the
could've sworn-
information on the
I could have sworn when I
statute.
did some research, though, I could have sworn Osceola County, if they're operating within an HOA, they have to have the permission of the HOA.
Well, technically,
That should
I
put a
mean,
stop to it right
those
there.
those are county roads, so we don't have, so, I mean, that could be, some HOAs have private roads coming in and out. We don't. These are our HOA, let's call it. I mean, using air quotes, HOA. We have an HOA, but we have public roads. So if they're allowed to operate on public roads, that's the issue, I mean, so it's,
So we'll figure out what the
Yeah.
rules and regs are, and we'll get it
Right.
out to the board, and we'll figure out what our enforcement ability is.
yeah, okay. That sounds good. Okay, the other thing I had was calendar is usually we've met as a CNOA every quarter, which is fine. But I think that as we talk about marketing and stuff, and I don't want to take Lauren and Jacob's time, and then also we come at the end of the year, it's like, oh, now CNOA went from 4% of her workload to 22% of her workload. I don't want that, but I do believe that we as a marketing team, kind of as a way, should meet on a monthly basis. And I think that would probably be helpful. Did we lose Mike, by the way?
Yeah, he did. I'm trying to get him back.
And we should also put on a note for him to get better internet too. That should be one of our things. So I think we should meet on a monthly basis for just marketing purposes, and we don't need, you guys don't have to be there all the time, but I think that just to talk about these marketing things, and I think next month, if we set a date, we should really talk about what is say visit, celebrate, what is it, what are the goals? Because at the end of the day is we have Belinda and Stephanie and they're doing their work, but we should actually create something that the board, there should be a list of things from the board that we want to see in the year. Some goals. We should do some goal setting as a board. I think a lot of it is probably on the marketing, and unfortunately for you guys, it's probably on the marketing and and social media end of it, at least for this year. So that's my recommendation is we set a monthly meeting to talk about marketing. It could be 30 minutes. And that's, really on the agenda, at least if we want to add other things, but I think that would be good. So
I'm back. I got temporarily bumped.
got it. So could we do that? How does that make sense, Lauren? So you guys don't, so it's more of maybe more of, we call it like a committee meeting, maybe more of like a marketing meeting type thing.
We could just call it a workshop.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to aim for the third Wednesday of the month at 3:00?
Third Wednesday.
Or third
Yeah.
Tuesday of the month, sorry, third Tuesday.
I think I have a CDD meeting on, that's the second Tuesdays. Okay, hold on. Tuesdays. Yeah, they're always, so I think third is okay. Yep.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Works for me as well.
Okay, good.
Perfect. So Belinda, can you send out some calendar invites for the third Wednesdays of the month at 3 p.m.?
Tuesdays, you said.
Tuesday, I'm sorry. I'm used to Wednesdays with CROA. It's habit now.
Okay.
Can we also set up maybe not only the monthly, but then also quarterly ones? Those will be
Yes.
very important.
I will have, let's see. Let me get with the team on the quarterly ones and we'll send them out. We'll aim for mid to end of February for the first quarterly meeting.
Yeah, I agree. If we had it out early, we can always see if there's any conflicts or move our calendars around and stuff like that. So,
Propose the quarterly meetings through December.
okay.
Any other board comments?
Oh, while you were gone, I suggested you get better internet. That was one of them.
Yeah, no kidding. What's weird, when I'm on my phone, it's fine, but when I'm on my Apple my Mac, it glitches.
That's weird.
Hey, look here. I am probably the only board member who's ever matched their shirt to their wallpaper. So
It's a good point. It's a good
Yes.
point. Little Buccaneers. There you go. There you go. All right.
and you haven't said anything the whole meeting. Hello.
I did. Yeah, I should have said it. That's the old school. On Tampa Bay lost. Yeah. Yeah. Too bad. Yeah. Good logo, the old school, very old school. Anything, Lauren? So anything that we need to be updated about though, at all? I think stuff that.
So we have a meeting tomorrow about the CNOA events that we had discussed at the last meeting. It'll be our second meeting, and I think we're talking about the first one being let's talk about celebration.
Okay.
So once that meeting is done, we'll send out an update to everybody about where we're at and next steps.
Okay. I do remember though in the CJC/CROA meetings, they said they wanted to have budget meetings and that kind of finance meetings starting in January. Obviously we're probably not going to have it in January, but we should think about it sooner,
Yeah, I think January is a little bit too early.
Yeah.
I would say let's give, because some of it's going to be, what does it look like now that there's a comms person and there's a marketing person that are more focused on CNOA. So I would propose actually starting that conversation in March, so you have about a quarter's worth of information.
after
at
the
least
election
to-
too.
Yeah, and then it's
Mhm.
after
Okay.
the election, because there's no
All right.
point in having a discussion with this board when
Right.
we're gonna have two new board members
Okay.
on March 7th.
Okay. So getting to Celia's point about like maybe long-term calendar planning, maybe we pick,
Yep.
do something for that too, the budget meeting. So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
Will this
Yeah.
board always be 3 people? Does this board ever, is it always 3 people?
We have to add,
No,
I
we
think,
need
don't
to
we have
hold-
to add?
We need to hold an annual meeting
Right,
at the end of the year.
right.
End of-
It was
Okay.
by the time Disney stepped off, it was too late to hold an annual meeting with
Okay.
proper notice. So we'll do that this year, and if we get quorum attendance, then we will be able to elect 2 new board members.
Okay.
But most likely, so the alternative is that if we don't get quorum, then we have to select one more person. Is that what it is? So we should be thinking about that, or is that how it
Yeah.
works? Or
2.
so still 2 either way. So okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be a representative board of 5.
And when is that deadline?
It will be. See, the last one that was held in December, but that's always difficult. And given how difficult it is for CNOA to get quorum, period, I would say we should try to hold your annual meeting in October before we get to the main holiday season.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions? I'll
I
get better.
emailed you all the packet to review. So
Okay,
now that
cool.
you approved the logo, you guys can review it, and then any feedback, Stephanie's copied on that email. You can shoot it over to her.
Okay.
I
Perfect.
received it.
Okay. If there are no other board comments, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So move second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you all.
See ya.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Bye.